see. So thank you, and I commend this bill to the House.
I thank the member. We are considering the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill 2024. The question is, the bill be read a second time. I call the member for Strathfield.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise just to make a very, very brief contribution in support of the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill. I support this bill because it strikes the right balance in terms of fairness and power. Almost 30% of residents in my electorate of Strathfield rent. And at the core of this bill is this notion of ending no grounds evictions. Currently, at the end of every fixed-term lease, a landlord can evict a tenant with just 30 days' notice. In the context of today's housing crisis and housing shortage, 30 days is not enough to find a new home. And this bill fixes that. It also fixes an egregious situation that because of the lack of housing stock, the lack of rental stock, that landlords in bad faith can evict a tenant simply to put up the rent. This bill fixes that. Now, in my electorate of Strathfield, there are almost 40% of renters. There are a lot of people who are landowners and landlords. Recognised in the centre of Strathfield, there was a house that sold recently. It was a knockdown. It sold for $12.5 million. There are a lot of property owners in Strathfield, and I say to the property owners of Strathfield, this bill strikes the right balance. If you wish to sell your property, you can still evict a tenant. If you need to do major renovations to your property, you can still evict a tenant. If you want to live in your property again yourself, you can still evict the tenant. If you need to put up your rent, you can still do so once a year. What you can't do is evict a tenant for the sole reason of putting up their rent in the middle of one of the worst housing crises in a generation. I'd like to thank the Minister and his team for this really important reform. I commend the bill to the House.
I thank the member. The question is, the Residential Tenancies Amendment Bill 2024 be agreed to. There being no further speakers seeking the call, I call the Minister in reply.
Thank you very much, Assistant Speaker. I want